Okay. Okay. So call the meeting to order. I'd start out with a roll call. Trustee John Bartolotta,
Here.
Dr. Joe Carbone,
Present. Here I am, present.
Dan DeLoss.
I too am present.
Okay. Barbara Lobenheim,
Present.
Benny Martinez,
Present.
Carla Palumbo,
I'm here.
Dale Rakoff,
Present.
Grace Tillinghast,
Present.
and Alan Williams. Good afternoon and welcome to the June meeting of the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College. The meeting has been called to order and a quorum has been established. And first off, I'd like to welcome President Bert Nana to her first official meeting of the Board of Trustees. President Bert Nana, would you like to say a few words?
Certainly. Thank you so very much. What indeed an honor it really is to be serving in this capacity with such a great organization and with phenomenal people all around me. I'm grateful for the board's confidence and we're off to a great start, inspiring the way forward and more work to get done. So I thank each of you and we look forward to continuing to make progress together across the college and for our community.
Okay, thank you. And again, welcome. And before we get into the consent agenda, I think a couple of recognitions are in order. And the first is last week, Trustee Barbara Lobenheim was named the Trustee of the Year by the American Association for Women in Community College. And if you remember, as chair, she guided the search for an interim president and then for a permanent president of the college. And by all accounts, both the process as well as the outcome went well. And if that wasn't enough, on Wednesday the 9th, this coming Wednesday, Trustee Lobenheim will receive another award. And this is the King Award for the Trustee Leadership from the American Association of University Administrators. Please join me in congratulating Trustee Lobenheim on those two awards.
Congratulations, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Barbara. Great job.
Thank you,
Way to
Joe.
go. Way to go.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you all.
And one other recognition is in order, and that is for Trustee Dr. Joe Carbone, who has been named or appointed the head of the Division of Podiatry at Rochester General. Congratulations, Dr.
Thank
Carbone.
you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations,
Yes,
Joe. Joe,
congratulations.
wonderful.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Now we will move to adopt the consent agenda. And unless objections are raised, the following items are proposed to be adopted and approved by consent. Some of these items address issues which have been discussed by the board in the past or are routine matters which do not involve new policy decisions. Other consent items are derived from provisions in the existing prior approved labor contracts, capital construction programs, or other trustee initiatives. The consent agenda is presented for adoption as a single agenda item. Specific items may be removed by the request of any board member for discussion as part of the regular agenda. The remaining items should then be adopted as a single agenda. Board approval of the consent agenda is required. So, resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College adopt the consent agenda effective June 7th, 2021. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? A roll call vote. Trustee John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lobenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo,
Aye.
Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillinghast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams. Aye. The motion is approved. Trustees, now Dale Rakoff will give the Finance and Facilities Committee report. The board will consider these resolutions as a committee of the whole, voting on each in turn. Trustee Rakoff?
Thank you, Chair Williams. And Hezi, after 743 board meetings, welcome to your final one. Would you like to share with us the operating results for both March and April?
I will, and good afternoon, everyone. And we go to the next slide, please. So I will talk to you about April year-to-date, which encompasses the March performance also. So April 21 performance, we had enrollment through the spring census of some 7,078 FTEs. That reflected a decrease of some 1,553 FTEs, or about 18% year on year. Student tuition reflected a decrease of some $2.6 million from last year, resulting in a decrease of about 7%. Total revenues of $86.4 million reflected a year-on-year decrease of 2.3%, primarily due to decrease in enrollment, student fees, and state aid. So those are the things that brought that number down. However, we have booked federal funding, which is known as HERF number 1, of some $4.5 million, which partially offset the decreases. Total expenses through the month of April reached $70.2 million, and that reflected a decrease of some $12.2 million, 14.8%. I'll get into all of those further on in the presentation. The fund balance, this as of the month of April, has increased some $10.1 million, and that is a common process up until the month of May and June, where we began to see some decline in the fund balance. Next slide, please. So this chart is a reflection of the year-to-date activities of the numbers I just discussed, but now I'll show you some specifics. The decline in FTE enrollment is primarily attributable to the pandemic and a continuation of the performance over the last 8 to 10 years of an average annual increase of about 6.2%. So the pandemic is really driving this significantly up to that 18%. And by the way, the head count is down some 1,939 students, or some 13.6% as of this moment. Tuition decline would be greater, but for the 7.2% increase in tuition rate and the movement of dual enrollment from the other revenue category, which we accounted for last year, to tuition this year, which moves it back to our standard operating process, where it has always been as a part of tuition as opposed to other revenues. Total revenues reflects the $4.5 million of federal funds attributable to the HERF 1 tranche of funds, institutional funds, and chargebacks to other counties. So the significantly positive news on this page really is in total expenses of $70.2 million, reflecting a decline of some $12.2 million, or 14.8%. Total wages account for some $6.8 million of the decline, followed by some $3 million in fringe benefits. And of course, fringe benefits tied to payroll, so as wages come down, fringe benefits would normally follow suit. The remaining $2.4 million is just contractual expenses. Next slide, please. So this slide, we believe shows the difference between full-time aidable enrollment versus part-time aidable enrollment. So as you can see, full-time is down some 17%. Part-time is up some 11%. So again, we think that the pandemic has caused some students to reduce their load and therefore go into the part-time categories. And by reducing the load, you fall out of the full-time category. So that is the reason for the switch. And this represents an achievement through spring census of some 91% in terms of full-time equivalent enrollment. Next slide, please. So taking a look at the revenue mix, the revenue mix is depicted on this particular slide. And what we are comparing is last year, year-to-date number versus this year's year-to-date number. So last year, in total, we were at $88.5 million. This year, we are up at $86.4 million. All categories of revenue show a year-on-year decline except sponsor aid, which shows a small 0.3% increase. As mentioned earlier, the near total offset to the decline is the $4.5 million or 5.2% attributable to the federal appropriations or HERF number 1 funding. Despite the enrollment decline, tuition remains the majority of the revenue mix at some 39.7%. This is followed by state aid of some 23.8%. Next slide, please. So what makes up the revenue total in terms of year-on-year changes? There you can see the numbers in actuality. Tuition down 2.6 million or 7%. State aid down 1.2 million or 5.5%. And then all other down 2.8 million or 16%. And so these total is significantly offset by the federal appropriations of some $4.5 million. Next slide, please. This slide is a review of the benefits performance. And what we have here is that the mix of compensation costs shows the most significant changes in retiree health, growing from some 10.7% to 16.5%. That's in total. Healthcare expenses for active employees remain the largest contributor of costs at 34% versus 31.4% last year. And this is active employees. Then we have the retiree employees. And then, so the greatest decline is in all other costs of 21.9% in last year to 14.6%. And that represents a combination of what we call personal time off and retirement incentives. As you may recall, we had 2 incentives last year, one in February and the other in August, where we incented employees to take early retirement in some cases, and that drove the decline in benefits for non-active employees. We'll see little or no changes in pension and FICA. For these combined represent a net decline of only $300,000. Next slide, please. So this is the slide with, frankly, the good news in terms of expense reduction. So we have gone from $82.4 million last year to $70.2 million this year. Salaries remain the most significant cost burden at 59.5%, followed closely by some 30.3% in benefits. a combined amount of some 89.8%, or $61.3 million versus a total of 70 million in the total mix. So as you know, our goal is to get what I call compensation costs, meaning both salaries and benefits, down to a range of some 80%. Now, we won't end up at 89% this time this year, but it is significantly above the 80% goal. And I think next year we are budgeting that goal at about 83% of our total expenditures. The result is a very minor amount of dollars spent on all other expense categories, which frankly prevents us from making investments in things that will help to drive the college. But I think, again, the pandemic issue, the loss of student enrollment, these are the things that contribute to our inability to make investments. And at this time, we have been significantly and very hard maintaining or driving down our expenses to stay comparable with the revenues. Next slide, please. Here's just a table showing the changes in the benefits by categories. As you can see there, salaries down $6.8 million, or 14% year on year. Benefits down $3 million, or 12.2% year on year. Very little equipment changes because we haven't been spending much money at all in the equipment area. And contractual expenses are down some $2.3 million, or 24.6%. That gives us a net total of some $12.2 million decline year on year, or 14.8%. Next slide, please. So the fund balance at $28.3 million, reflecting that year-on-year increase. And as I said before, that's a temporary bump because come June, July, and August, we have very little revenues, but our expenses pretty much remain the same. Next slide, please. So this is an approach of looking at what is our capability of achieving the full year budget. So if you look at enrollment, the budget is 8,972 FTEs. We've actually achieved 7,078. We only have the summer enrollment to add to this number, summer and late charges, late enrollments. So we are short 1,894 FTEs, or 21.1%, and we will only knock off about half of that number. We may get that number down to about 900 full year, but we won't reach the budget. Tuition, same issue. We budgeted 44.7 million. We are currently down 10.4 million. That's what it would take to achieve the budget, or some 23.3%. I don't have any expectation of doing that. Total revenues at $111.6 million budget. Actually, we are at 86.4 million, down some 25.2%. 25.2 million, or 22%. Now, on the plus side, total expenses, again, a budget of 119 million. Actually, we are at 70 million, and there's no chance that we'll spend $49 million rounded there to reach budget. So full year, our total expenses will be significantly below the budget to offset much of the loss in revenues. And at this stage, we budgeted a use of $7.4 million in fund balance. And right now we've added some 16.2 on a year-to-year basis. Next slide, please. So what's the key message for these financials year to date? We have significant challenges ahead to achieve the budgeted enrollment. And as I said, I don't think we will. We have received and accounted for some $4.5 billion of CARES Act, or what we officially call HERF One, total expenses down some 15% year on year, and will continue to reach that level of expenditures, meaning favorable. And there's strong college community support in expense management. That is, we've not had to turn people away because everyone understands the challenges and the issues that we are facing. And so it's significant positive support from the college community as we continue through these pandemic issues that are driving a lot of our issues. Next slide, in questions.
Ezzy, just in relation to enrollment, in this probably isn't there might be another point where this is touched on, but in what are the expectations to have a resumption to the degree that students would choose so of on-campus instruction, and what are the milestones that would have to be met for that for the fall?
Our budget for next year calls for some 47% face-to-face enrollment. But I believe, and this is just my conjecture here, I believe that if we reach the changing climate of face-to-face, which we are believing that even though masking might be still there, maybe the social distance will be slightly different, and we know that the demand from our students will be face-to-face. So I'm optimistic that we will begin to re-engage our students and maybe move up above what we are now budgeting for next year, simply because I think that the demand for face-to-face will drive up some of these enrollment figures, in that more and more students, if they're face-to-face, they'll probably take more courses, and thus we will have more full-time students versus the significant part-time that we have. But I would ask President Deanna, Vice President of Student Services, Kimberly, to add if there are any comments that they would like to add on that particular specific question.
Specific comments, just to say that a lot of this will be contingent on any full implementation of vaccinations for our students and getting things somewhat back to normal. Dr. Mackenzie Mabry, is there any additional comments that you'd like to add?
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Burtnana. Thank you, VP Simmons. So yes, we know that we're hearing from students. We have lots of call projects and email campaigns to reach out to students to find out, especially continuing students who have not yet registered for fall, and also new students who have been accepted who haven't registered for fall. And we are hearing they're just playing the waiting game right now, which is unfortunate. They're waiting to see what's going to happen over the next couple of months. They're waiting to see, we have, as Vice President Simmons said, about 50% of our classes on campus currently meeting the 6 feet social distancing requirements. So that means that those classes are a little bit smaller, but it's giving students the opportunity to start registering. So we're pushing really, really hard to encourage students to register now. I was on a call earlier today with a staff member saying, you know, we need to encourage students to register because those classes may begin to fill up very quickly. But this isn't unusual this time of year for us. We do see it kind of slows in the summer in terms of registration, and then we start to pick up late July and we'll really hit in August. And so if history holds true, and the expectation, you know, from CDC and the state and SUNY as we are moving forward to a return to campus, I do expect that we'll see a significant increase in our enrollment come fall.
If I may add, I've been trying to recruit a number of students, and I hear the same thing. I'm not going to register. I've been accepted, but I'm not going to register until I find out whether or not I'll be going there, because some of them, like one said, I don't want to get up and stay in my room, in my pajamas, going to online courses another semester. So that's going to, and the new students, I mean, parents are waiting as well. And I'm talking about, my numbers are not huge, but it's about 50, 60 students that it will depend on how things happen now that everything is starting to open up and we have this mask debacle that somebody says one thing, somebody says something else, and nobody seems to agree. But vaccination in all the SUNY, institution obviously should help a lot.
Yes, I would add to the point that Trustee Tornstedt just offered up to. Right now, about half of our courses are scheduled to be offered face-to-face for students. And I have commissioned a task force to begin working on various scenarios about returning to work and learning in the fall, so that we can begin to work through various scenarios of what guidance we might receive. And hopefully that information will be, we anticipate it to be available within a matter of 1 or 2 more weeks.
Is MCC going to require vaccinations?
That is the, I just made reference to the commission. So the governor's guidance is that all SUNY and CUNY's institutions would be mandated subject to FDA approval of the vaccinations. And so this task force that's been commissioned is to operate under the scenario that it either will be or will not be, and what recommendations will be brought forward for our consideration. So at this juncture, the mandate is there. We're working various scenarios to anticipate to the best of our ability. Earlier today, I was in a meeting where my peers are sort of anticipating that this could go 2 weeks on the front end or the back end, that we might get this FDA approval. And so if that's indeed the case, we might have the semester underway. We don't want to wait too late, because we understand that our students, families, our community are all eager for us to get that guidance and to communicate what is it going to be. So we are doing our due diligence to get that information out and run it through multiple scenarios, partnering with the community, also to anticipate some ways that we can be facilitators of that vaccination process as well.
Thank you.
Have you gotten any guidance in terms of verification?
Minimal guidance about, I'm going to queue up Kelvin Gant here because we recently just saw that on a national level, some guidance is starting to be released around various scenarios of how do we verify that a person is vaccinated. Can we verify? Kelvin, are you able to just share on a high level some of the information that is that you've been privileged to and shared with us recently?
Well, I mean, there's a couple of different things going on, and certainly right now in New York State, they have the portal or the pass where people can go in and fill their information in and be able to prove through that portal that they've gotten vaccinated. So New York State has put that in place, and so that is an option already for people that want to have that in their background. We're requiring that for a lot of sports events, for example, for people to be able to validate that. Of course, there are lots of concerns around that from a diversity standpoint, religion, diversity, a variety of different things that come into play as to how will we require or mandate that for individuals. So the jury is still out as it relates to some of those things, but you know, it's a touchy subject, and we have to tread lightly on how we roll something out, so it doesn't backfire on us, especially in an enrollment situation.
I would thanks all of you for your input there. I would just add one other item that you will see more of when we go through the divisional highlights, Trustee Rykoff, in that we are doing an initiative relative to our students who are placed on registration hold because of owing the college greater than $1,000. And we've now, frankly, freed up somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 of those students to come back, because we are waiving the debt up to $1,000, which will allow them to return. And of the 1,500, only 200, we would only need 200 of those students on an FTE basis to sign up on a full-time basis to make the break even revenue-wise on what we would invest by declaring the debt paid. So that you'll see more of that in, at the during the highlights. Any other questions?
If I may, has he, in all your years of experience at the school, the numbers that you often cite, 80, 81, 82% of expenses being salary, compensation, that sort of thing, how does MCC stack up against its peers? And I know from a tuition perspective, we've always done quite well compared to our peers, but just a little bit on how you think we've done and maybe what we could do better. And don't be afraid to pat yourself on the back.
Yes, we well, from a tuition perspective, you are correct. We fall in the bottom 1/3. I think there are no more than like 4 or 5 of the SUNY community colleges that have a lower tuition than we have. Relative to our compensation costs as a percent of the total, we are not doing as well as some of the other schools. I mean, we do have colleges that are in the 77 to 80% rate actual and that they're doing now. We also have some that are higher than we are. Some of it is location. That is the colleges down east have a lot more expenses and therefore unable to reach those levels. We've done pretty well. As a matter of fact, we've been below that, the 85 percentage point most of my career, but this pandemic has really caused us some issues. So I'm pretty optimistic that we can get to at least to the 82% level on an ongoing basis. The real challenge is to get to the 80%.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Hezi? Sorry for starting with a non-financial question, Hezi, but I figured no one's ever asked that yet, so
All
I
right.
would get that out of the way. So let me proceed with a couple resolutions with respect to the March and April reports. First, resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College accepts the interim financial reports as of March 31 and April 30, 2021, which you can find in attachment 1. Trustees may have a motion to approve the financial reports as detailed in attachment 1.
So moved.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? So by roll call, those in favor, John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo,
Aye.
Dale Rakoff, aye, Grace Tillinghast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams.
Aye.
The resolution carries with no dissent. And next, being the purchases over $20,000, resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College authorizes the purchase of items over $20,000 as listed for the months of March and April 2021, found in attachment 2. Trustees may have a motion to approve the purchases over $20,000 as detailed in attachment 2.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
And discussion-wise, I just wanted to ask Hezi if you could elaborate on the Buffalo State contract and what that provides the college.
Yes, we basically, for some security purposes, in addition to the cost purposes, we have contracted with what is called iTech. It's an arm of the of SUNY to manage our banner processes for all of our accounting, and that is the record keeping, not doing the accounting itself, but the record keeping. And it's a hosting service that they provide that has significantly more redundancy and backup than we would be able to afford. So we've joined that unit of SUNY to purchase the service from iTech, and it has proven to be a godsend for us. When we did it, we actually released 3 of our technology people to provide this service, and the service has grown since that time, because this happened about 4 or 5 years ago, and it has been one of the more positive actions that we have taken relative to security of our data, because it's now secured in 2 different places, both in Albany and also in Buffalo.
Thank you for that context, given the current events around ransomware. I appreciate you touching on that being part of the weapon of that the college has to combat that. So any other questions regarding these expenses? So I'll move for a roll call vote. All in favor, John Bartolotta.
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone.
Aye.
Dan DeLoss.
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim.
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo.
Aye.
Dale Rakoff, aye. Grace Tillinghast.
Aye.
And Alan Williams.
Aye.
The resolution carries without dissent. Next, we move on to the schedule of tuition and fees for the next fiscal year. And I just thought I would add, prior to the discussion, that it was a deliberate decision to really hold tuition flat, given what we've been through over the course of the year and a lot of the concessions that students have made, and effectively to allocate whatever that graduated tuition increase would be against some of the HERF dollars. So given that, I'd like to share with you the following resolution. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the schedule of tuition and fees for the fiscal year September 1, 2021 through August 31, 2022, which you can find in attachment 3. Trustees may have a motion to approve the schedule of tuition and fees as detailed in attachment 3.
So move.
And second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? We'll move for a roll call vote. For all in favor, John Bartolotta.
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone.
Aye.
Dan DeLoss.
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim.
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo.
Aye.
Dale Rakoff, aye. Grace Tillinghast.
Aye.
And Alan Williams.
Aye.
The resolution carries without dissent. And next, in discussions around the operating budget for the upcoming fiscal year, I'll share with you the resolution and then ask for Hezi to share the recommendation with us. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the operating budget for the fiscal year September 1, 2021 through August 31, 2022 in the amount of $109,440,000. Trustees may have a motion to approve the operating budget.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you. Hezi, would you care to provide some context?
Yes, I would. This has been a very challenging budget because of all of the unknowns that we are facing. So we've worked ourselves the process through many meetings to include both the internal meetings as well as meeting with the county administration and the legislature. Some of the things that are impacting us would be, of course, the COVID continuation, which drives down our enrollment. But one of the concerns we've had has been long-term level of support from our governments, people that support us. As you know, this past year, we went up and down with the state relative to their contribution in terms of state aid. This budget, this new budget has some good news relative to our support from the county, our sponsor, in that we asked the sponsor to increase their contribution by some $500,000. They had been flat over the last 6 years. And as of today, I have not heard that the county will not support us. We've been in the several meetings where we've gotten people to say that, yes, they thought it was a very good idea. So at this stage, I'm expecting that we would get $500,000 increase from the county relative to for our budget next year. We are holding pretty tight on hiring of employees. We have to go through a process with the president and the cabinet to hire employees coming in, or even to replace many of our employees who are retiring, not as a part of our retention. I mean our initiatives back in last year where we asked people to leave, but just in terms of people who are leaving and needing to be backfilled. So those action that we are taking will help us to manage this year-on-year budget decline. So last year we budgeted to spend $119 million. This year we are budgeting to spend $109 million, or that's a reduction rounded of some $10 million or 8%. The one caveat in there is that we do recognize some $6 million of federal funding in this, which allows us to, where we are now only spending about $100,000 of allocated reserve or fund balance. So if you look at this budget as is, we will maintain, as you know, we have this goal, or frankly, it's not a goal, it's a target given to us by SUNY and the state, that our fund balance should always be somewhere between 5% and 15%. MCC has always tried to maintain a 12% fund balance. We will maintain that fund balance or something greater in this budget that we are proposing. So this is a very, I think, conservative budget, but it has some opportunities. And quite frankly, there might be opportunities in enrollment. And if that comes to pass, we will be on a better footing going forward. So I truly and earnestly recommend that the board approves this budget because in my mind, it is a very conservative and well-managed budget going forward.
Thank you, Ezzy. And I'd just like to make three points. First is to commend you and the team, because this is a challenging operating environment, and to achieve an 8% reduction in expense with very little wiggle room is a very notable achievement. The second is, it certainly is easy to think with all the federal support that it would give us the luxury of either expanding our budget or enhancing pay, but to do so would be short-sighted, myopic, and I think grossly irresponsible. Because MCC was in certainly the exception within higher education of not rushing to implement across the board furloughs or salary reductions. But in finance, there is no straightforward solution. It simply is a matter of trade-offs. And the trade-off is that we have to be more committed to making the college more financially sustainable at the same time without sacrificing student success. So third is that, as we contemplate the very thoughtful and responsible budget, I would ask that the college leadership considers three actions. One is to have a separate accounting of the HERF funds and what the strategic purpose is for how those funds are allocated, much like whether it was TARP or PPP, there was always some formal accounting and oversight. Second is a plan to close the gap of the benefits that the college has already committed to current and former employees, but is not yet funded, which is a sizable portion. And then third is a 12-month plan to equalize the cost per FTE with the revenue per FTE. And obviously it is a sliding scale with fixed costs and a declining enrollment, that gap widens. But I think as proposed, the budget is recommending a shortfall of about $913 per FTE. And there ought to be a plan to close that by a year from now. Are there other questions?
No, I'd like to echo your sentiments, Dale, as it relates to this budget and plus what the college has weathered in terms of maintaining its employees throughout a very difficult time pre-COVID, and of course during some difficult times throughout it. And I thought that was well said, well articulated, and right to the point. And I couldn't agree with you more, Dale. Very good.
Question I have is, are there any, and if somebody said it, I'm sorry, are there any limitations on how we can spend the federal money?
There are rules and regulations as to how we take the money down. We have been, I personally have been pressing the college and the administration to recognize lost revenues, because that satisfies the federal government with the use of the capturing of the HERF funds. We could frankly take all of the funds that have been made available to us. We could take basically all of it into lost revenues. We've chosen not to because of some things that are very important for student success in terms of technology needs for students. So we would use some of that to of the HERF funds. But the bulk of the dollars, in my opinion, should and will go toward lost revenues.
There's also a time limit, isn't there, Hezi?
There is. We have no issues with HERF 1 because we've already taken all of those funds down. We have until September of next year to take down HERF 2, and we believe, well, frankly, HERF 2 and 3, but we believe based on all of the communications and input we've received that there will be an extension by the federal government of at least 12 months to finally take down the total amount.
Other questions?
Well, Dale, I hate to ask you to do this again, but could you run through the three things again? They made sense to me, but I want to make sure, because you're asking for a vote on that in conjunction with a vote on the budget?
No, that the resolution stands on its own.
Okay.
It's just it's a request, and from a reporting standpoint, and providing guidance in developing ongoing budgets. And obviously it's a part of the scorecard that they maintain between revenue to cost ratios of FTEs. But to be very clear in the expectation that the goal should be to equalize those two, and that actions need to be taken in order to support that. So the budget, the resolution, and what we would vote on is strictly for the budget.
Okay.
I would ask on a going forward basis that we have, some mechanism of accounting similar to the distribution from grants, that we have that same level of awareness of how the HERF funds are being allocated. I'm not asking for line item detail, but then also be mindful of the underfunded benefits that exist now, where no traction has really been made, that I've been aware of over the last couple of years, and then work toward that plan of closing the gap between what it costs to educate an FTE versus what we receive to educate that FTE. So does that help, Dan? It's not.
Oh, yeah, I just didn't know, as I said, whether we were amending the resolution to put those in there as a requirement or not. And the answer is no, we are not, but you're asking for that to go on the record, that the board is comfortable with asking for that sort of ongoing information. And I'm fine with that.
I also support greater scrutiny in the way in which we're approaching all of this. So I too support what you have to say, and I think we should go forward in that direction.
Any other comments or questions?
I have one. The benefits, retiree benefits you're talking about, is that the OPEB or something else?
What I'm referring to primarily are three sets of benefits. You have the retiree health, which is OPEB, and correct me if I'm wrong if I misspeak in any way, Hezi, but we have the OPEB. We also have the TRS and the ERS, which those are managed more at a consolidated level with the state, but we bear a percentage liability of those benefits based on the employees that participate in that plan. The TRS is slightly underfunded. The ERS is grossly underfunded. And those could be commitments that are called upon where they invoice the college to start to make up that difference over the corridor period. And we need to be prepared for that. And not to get too far into the weeds, but there's also there's a distinct difference between what the college gets invoiced and what the actual cost of the pension benefits are that year. And that is largely a function of benefits paid, benefits accrued, and the difference between the expected rate of return and the actual rate of return. And the actual cost ultimately comes due, but it doesn't always coincide with what we're invoiced for. Does that help, Alan, just in differentiating the three?
Yes, it does.
Any other questions or discussion? So I'll move to request consenting to Hezi's last fiscal budget. A roll call for those in favor: John Bartolotta.
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone.
He said he had to leave.
Dan DeLoss.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Aye, Joe Carbone, sorry.
Thank you, Joe. That's okay. Dan DeLoss.
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim.
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo.
Aye.
Dale Rakoff, aye. Grace Tillinghast.
Aye.
And Alan Williams.
Aye.
The resolution carries without dissent. And next we'll move to a discussion around the facilities master plan. Let me share the resolution and then we can move to discussion. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the 2021 to 2026 facilities master plan. Trustees may have a motion to approve the facilities master plan.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Hezi, would you like to add to the discussion on this?
Well, I would just repeat our discussion at the executive board meeting, where this plan has been under rigorous review, following a very robust plan. I like the words used by Dr. Bertnana in that this plan has a lot of aspirational needs in it, or aspirational desires in it. When we established the committee to work toward coming up with the master plan, we hired a group called the Smith Group, which is quite well known nationwide in the area of building master plans for universities. Our employees and students were asked to think big about what the master plan should look like, but we also advised them that any expenditures over $8 million a year would be a part of the aspirational portion of this plan. The plan is well designed. It's not dependent like the last plan that we had where one project was dependent on the next project. And so it got really contorted in that when we dropped the project, the plan couldn't go forward. That was one of the other piece of instructions we gave to the team, that we did not want any project be dependent on the other. That way we could move forward on things that we thought affordable and more urgent versus the prior plan. And I think we have done just that. We have gone through a series of open forums with the college community following the initial drafting of the plan, and even drafting the plan, we had significant involvement of both internal college individuals, both students, faculty, and staff, as well as external individuals. We after the last open forum, we did a survey from the students, and a number of positives came out, but the things that came out that I thought were very central was that they say that the plan appears to be very student-centered. That's what it was all about. It wants student success with what we wanted. They also said relocating the ATC to the Brighton campus will give those students more access to other general education courses, as well as services such as the library, learning centers, etc. Because right now, there's very little transportation between the ATC and the main campus in Brighton. They also said aiming to reconfigure the campuses so that all student services are visible and convenient will make us a much more customer-focused institution. Finally, creating a safer space for crossing the road downtown eliminates a daily worry for some of our students. This plan calls for $185 million over a period of 10 years. The 96 million of it is construction, both new and refurbishing, and 89 million of it is deferred maintenance and ADA compliance. We have a significant ADA issue that we must now begin to repair. So in summary, I think the plan, as I said before, reflects our aspirational goals. Upon approval, the facilities master plan must still go through additional levels of approval with the county and with SUNY. Through the strategic planning process beginning this fall, projects described within the facilities master plan will be explored further for feasibility, total cost of ownership, timing, and others. The other point I would make is that significant portions of the projects contained in this plan have already been added to the county's capital improvement plan. That plan was approved by the committee of the whole last month, as in the month of May. It will be placed on the county's agenda tomorrow, as a matter of fact, for their meeting in July. Earlier, I told President Deanna that I thought that was going to happen tomorrow, but it's actually July when the vote will take place. So in my mind, in my opinion, given that the committee of the whole has already voted in the portions of the facilities master plan without any objections, I presume that next month when they vote on the plan, it will be approved. That is the CIP, not the facilities master plan, but the CIP will be approved by the legislature. Now, what happens is once we get the plan in place, the facilities master plan as well as the capital improvement plan, then it becomes a project by project process. That is, the county and the college will decide on which of those projects they would like to fund initially, and going forward, we all get together and there's a collaborative effort, and then we all agree. At that point in time, that particular project then is sent down to SUNY. SUNY will take a look to see if it's in the facilities master plan. And if the county has said yes, and it's in the facilities master plan, SUNY will say yes. So this staging of the facilities master plan is really for the board to say they agree, but then they have the opportunity as we go forward to project by project to decide if to make the investment.
Trustee Rakoff.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to really thank Hezi for shepherding this process to this point, and to reiterate how important it will be that any undertakings in the facility master plan do align with the strategic plan, and that both the members of our board and our staff, faculty, and students in our community, as well as our foundation, all have an opportunity to have a voice in helping us to shape and prioritize those things. So my gratitude to the college as a whole for taking the opportunity to provide input, and also to thank Hezi for shepherding us to the process and bringing it to this point before the board's consideration.
I'd like to say one thing too. That was an unbelievable explanation, Hezi. And who's going to be able to replace you? Who's going to be able to do that? President Bert and Anna, do you have an idea?
I'm working on that, Trustee Carbone.
I already suggested we put a tracker on him. So he can't go, so we always know where he is.
He told me that I always have a direct line to him, and I'm counting on that. But then he gave me a deadline by how many months I have to track him down.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the explanation. I think that the two key points are, first, if you're watching this meeting and you just took a commercial break after hearing the challenge with the operating budget, and you come back and hear about committing to $185 million, you may think that you skip meetings. The reality is we have an operating budget, which is challenging. And what we're discussing now is the capital budget, which we really don't have any significant outlay in. But if you were to draw a Venn diagram, that overlap is just maintaining whatever improvements that we make. And again, if we're not planning and thinking forward and trying to improve the college and the experience, then we're letting the students down. So I thank you again, Hezi, because it took courage to do this in a difficult time. And President Burt, Anna, thank you for explaining too that this resolution is really about the scope of the plan. It's not about the timing or the priority. So I appreciate your willingness to advise us on that progress. And really the only other thing that I think would be helpful in the background every so often is to know where do we stand on that, what hopefully is a declining deferred maintenance, because some things like the ADA will kind of pop up as a current expense. So I appreciate, this was a full college effort, and appreciate everyone's effort. Any other questions or discussion? So with that, we'll move to a roll call for all in favor. John Bartolotta.
Aye.
Dr. Joe Carbone.
Aye.
Dan DeLoss.
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim.
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo.
Aye.
Dale Rakoff, aye. Grace Tillinghast.
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
The 2021-2026 Facility Master's Plan has been approved without dissent. And next, I would ask that you refer to the informational items in attachment 4, 5, and 6. I didn't know, Hezi, if you would like to touch on or provide any additional information to the board regarding these items.
Current capital improvement projects, there are 3 on the list, but there are only 2 that worth mentioning. And that is the Finger Lakes Workforce Development Center, known as the Forward Center. We got notice to move forward last month from the county legislature. And so that $11.4 million capital budget is now moving toward construction, and it is the schedule that was approved called for completion by March of next year. We are putting a lot of pressure on the construction company to move that up, accelerate that such that we can be in there come January. It will save us $8,000 a month in rental expenses that we have with Kodak. So Blaine Grindle, who's our champion relative to these projects, is working very hand in glove with the county engineering folks, trying to get that acceleration done. If it happens, the Forward Center would then open hopefully in January of next year. The other is the property preservation phase 3 document there, where we have $2 million allocated for this year. What we have found, however, is that the garage, the downtown underground garage, is going to cost us a lot more money than we had anticipated. We had expected the cost to come in at $1.5 million. Right now, it's looking like $3.4 million. Again, this is all capital, and so 50% of that cost would be borne by the county, and the other 50% by SUNY. And right now, everybody believes that it has to be done. The inspection that was done by the state last year, frankly, sort of mandated that we get that garage modified. And the other item that's a part of the property preservation is our pool, which has been out of commission now for almost a year. But we now are in a position to guarantee to the college that come June 2nd, the pool will reopen, and therefore the summer campers will have no issues with their swimming lessons.
And any other questions for Hezi?
Hezi, what was the ballpark figure for the cost of building out the downtown campus? I'm just curious how that compares to this 11.4.
Well, the total cost of approval was $78 million. We came in at about 76, so we were on time and below budget.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I thought briefly I'd just add, Hezi, I wanted to personally thank you. One is, and I don't think it's hyperbole to say that there's really no measure to the impact that you've had on the college or will continue to have. Second is that I know that you've set the example to me that you've always evaluated options based on what was best for MCC and particularly what's best for MCC in the long term. And third, you've always been both generous and gracious for every new finance chair that's come along to the board. And it's heartening to me to know that it wasn't until I was appointed that you started to seriously consider your retirement options. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And thank you for the extra time today. Chair Williams, this does conclude the Finance and Facilities Committee report.
Okay, well, thank you, Trustee Raytoff. And now I'd like to ask Trustee Carla Palumbo will give the Personnel and Programs Committee report. The board will consider these resolutions as committee of the whole, voting on each in turn. And I'd also like to say welcome back, Trustee Palumbo.
Thank you, Chair Williams. I appreciate it. And hopefully, here's my first Personnel and Programs Committee report. Let's see how I do. The first item is the appointment of an interim vice president, administrative services, and chief financial officer. So resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the appointment of Daryl Jacob Moore as the interim vice president, administrative services, and chief financial officer, effective July 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, or until the position is filled on a permanent basis, whichever is earlier. Mr. Jacob Moore will receive a monthly stipend of $3,250 for each month that he serves in this role. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the interim appointment of Daryl Jacob Moore?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a roll call vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Trustee John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. The second resolution is as follows. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approve the appointment of Kristen Lowe, Executive Director, Human Resources and Organizational Development, effective April 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2021, for an annual salary of $105,000, prorated to $43,952 for that period. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the appointment of Kristen Lowe?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay,
Second.
is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dan DeLoss. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call a roll call. Those in favor, please say aye. Trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion is also approved. Next is resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College adopts the revised cybersecurity awareness and education policy effective June 7th, 2021, and that is found in attachment 7. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the revised policy as detailed in attachment 7?
So moved.
Second.
And is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I like that the penalty is that you have to change your password more often.
I know. I just had to change my password to sign on here. I'm like, again, didn't I just change this?
Carla, I did too.
I know, but it's like a timing thing.
Yeah.
Reminds me that in my own agency, we should do this more often. I think, Hezi, is there anything else on this that you want? I think this is your thing. Is there anything here that you want to bring to our attention? I think we lost him. Yeah.
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry about that. There's nothing I wanted to add to the document itself. This is your second reading, and the last time around we spent a few minutes on this. I would just want to say, however, that the SUNY has just released a 5-point security, all about cybersecurity document, and there are 5 items listed as to what SUNY was expecting the community college and the state operations to do or to have in place. We have done 4 of the 5. As a matter of fact, we were ahead of the game. The only one we have not done is the one that SUNY has not yet established the process to do. So our security, particularly our IT technology security, is in real good hands under the leadership of Eileen Worley, and I couldn't say enough about it. So this is a continuation.
That's fantastic. Great job, everybody. Is there any discussion or are there any questions? So hearing none, I will call a roll call vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
There's no opposition, so the motion is approved. The next item involves, is resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the following certificate subject to the approval of the state of New York, the State University of New York, which is the hospitality certificate in attachment A. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the hospitality certificate as detailed in attachment 8?
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I think Rebecca Griffin, you're on the call. Did you want to address this at all?
I think Rebecca dropped off,
I
actually.
thought I saw her. Okay. If there's no questions or no discussion, then I'll call for a roll call vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams.
Aye.
There's no opposition. The motion is approved unanimously. Next up, resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the following rank promotion effective September 1st, 2021. It's Demetrius Rhodes, instructor to assistant professor. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the rank promotion as detailed?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. I'll call the roll call. Trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, this motion is approved unanimously. Next is resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the phased-in retirement for the following individuals in accordance with Article 27, Section E of the contractual agreement between Monroe Community College and the Faculty Association. The staff member is Sherry Shabango, and it's business administration, and her date of retirement is August 26th, 2024. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the phased-in retirement as detailed?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote. Those in favor, please say aye. Trustee John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Next is a change to the calendar. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College approves the following academic 2021 calendar for summer sessions 1, 2, and 3. Changes were made based on the inclusion of the Juneteenth holiday and an audit of the dates for correctness. The updated calendars will be effective upon approval by the Board of Trustees, and this is found in attachment number 9. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the revised academic calendar for summer 2021 as detailed in attachment number 9?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions?
Well, the Juneteenth holiday is on Saturday, so
I think it's Friday. I think it's Friday.
okay.
Amanda, where are you, Amanda? Can you address that? Yoo-hoo. Okay.
I don't know if you're asking me, Carla, but the June 18th is on a Friday.
That's the holiday day though, right?
Yes.
Correct. That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay.
And I don't know that it's been decided whether or not this will be an ongoing holiday, but it is the Friday is the holiday day.
Okay. Usually, as far as I remember, it was on the 19th, but that's okay.
So I did just search it more, and it is the actual holiday is on Saturday, June 19th. You're correct, Grace.
Yep. My
But
question was, it's a holiday that you don't move. You don't move the 4th of July. Whenever it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever, you just don't move it like you do other holidays in the calendars to a Monday or a Friday or something like that.
There's a legal date that you celebrate those holidays. So like the 4th of July, the legal date to celebrate it is Monday the 5th. That's the day off. That's the New York State day off. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's news to me.
Yeah.
I thought that other holidays were movable, but not Independence Day or Christmas. But that's
I think the day you celebrate is moved, but the holiday itself is that day. But the day you celebrate, the day that banks are closed and offices are closed is moves.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So I'll call a roll call vote. All in favor, please say aye. Trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rykoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
Alan Williams.
Aye.
Any opposed? There be none. This motion is approved unanimously. And finally, it's very bittersweet that I will read the next resolution because I know that all of us will very much miss Hezi, but we do congratulate him on his retirement and the next chapter of his life. So I will read this. Whereas Hezekiah N. Simmons has commendably served in various capacity in Monroe Community College's Administrative Services Division for 18 years, including as Chief Financial Officer and Vice President for the past 13 years, overseeing executive management and leadership of all budget development, financial reporting, finance and accounting, student accounts, procurement, facilities, insurance and risk management, public safety, institutional planning, human resources, and technology services. And whereas Hezekiah N. Simmons has helped keep the college on course to achieving its vision, is a champion of equity, opportunity, innovation, and excellence, and ensuring that administrative services enabled MCC's faculty and staff to best serve students. And whereas Hezekiah N. Simmons' fiscal leadership and dedicated persistence have guided MCC faculty, staff, and students to respond courageously and safely to a coronavirus pandemic and have helped the college prepare for and manage significant revenue challenges, including an immediate state mandated transition to fully remote and online teaching and learning in spring and summer 2020, and the restart of some on-campus operations, activities, and learning in fall 2020 and spring 2021. And whereas Hezekiah N. Simmons' tenacious fiscal management and leadership efforts working with New York State, State University of New York, and Monroe County throughout his tenure have resulted in numerous college-wide achievements, including most notably the approval and construction of the downtown campus, the return to complete program offering debt relief to former students, and the UPass program enabling MCC students to access regional transit service bus services at no charge. And whereas Hezekiah N. Simmons' service to higher education was most prominently in view as he led the community college's business officers as president for 3 years, beginning in 2012, after rising through its ranks from secretary. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the Monroe Community College Board of Trustees, hereby extend our deep gratitude and appreciation to Hezekiah N. Simmons for his inspirational and exemplary leadership and fiscal stewardship, his commitment to student success, educational excellence, and innovation, and his contributions to increase the prosperity of our students, city, and region. And be it further resolved that we, the Monroe Community College Board of Trustees, extend our sincere best wishes to Hezekiah N. Simmons for continued good health, happiness, and personal success in his retirement. His leadership and many contributions to the college and the community will be missed. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the resolution of recognition for Hezzy Simmons?
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
And the second?
second.
I know there's going to be discussion, but I'm going to take it a point of personal privilege and myself first say to Hezzy, see, I did learn something from being in politics. So Hezzy, I have nothing but the utmost respect for your knowledge, for the way that you've shepherded this college fiscally and administratively since I've been involved. You will sorely be missed, and I will personally miss your insight. But given what I just read, I know you need to take a little bit of a rest. I can't imagine you're going to rest too long because you'll probably get bored. But I do wish you the very, very best. So thank you for everything.
I think we should go in alphabetical order, Carla.
Okay, go ahead, John.
It looks like I'm first.
You are.
Hey, I just want to say there's so many things I want to say, and it would take a long time, and I'll tell some things to Hezzy privately, but certainly as a past finance chair, I can attest to all the wonderful things that have been said about him. And Dale has said some very thoughtful words, which I echo as well. But throughout, when we had the most memorable was that downtown campus and the huge responsibility to make sure that came in on budget. Dan DeLoss knows all the eyes were on MCC, and Hezzy directed that entire budget process. I mean, right down to some of the desks and chairs, and it was quite a feat. And I just want to say that was just a tip of the iceberg. So Hezzy, personally going to miss you very, very much. You've been a true asset to the college, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I look forward to an ongoing relationship. So God bless you, Hezzy, and thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else?
Yes, Hezzy, as chair of the Board of Trustees past, I depended on you a great deal, your expertise, your explanations, knowing that whatever we had to face, we could face it together. We had a wonderful meeting with Adam Bello years ago together, and came out of there in feeling so good about what is going on at the time, and also about the fact that we work together so well. Thank you for being such a terrific tribune and doing the work that you did, and also, and most important, getting along with all of us diverse personalities, all our different needs. You were there. I wish you the very best, and I hope that I will see you in Rochester as our paths cross.
Very much, Barb. And I will be in Rochester.
Good.
Okay.
Carla, if I may.
Yes, you may.
I just echo everything everybody has said. I guess, Hezi, I've probably known you and worked with you for over 15 years now, mostly with my time at the county. And I was always impressed, first of all, by the fact that you are a gentleman. And you know, we had some meetings that weren't always easy to get through. You're smiling now, that's good, that's good. But you always handled yourself with grace, professionalism. And Dale mentioned it earlier about you, how you care for the school, totally true. But in particular, you care about the students. And everything was always about the students and taking care of them. So glad to have had the opportunity to work with you. And I wish you nothing but the best. You're a great guy, Hezi.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I like to say, Hezi, thank you. Like everyone else, I want to echo all the things that everyone else has said. And I'd like to especially thank you for reassuring me that my becoming chair had nothing to do with your retirement. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Alex.
Awesome.
I know, Carl, I
Okay.
already spoke, but Hezi, well done. You couldn't have done it better, and you will be sorely missed. And for clarification, Carla, if I vote against the resolution, does that mean that he has to stay?
No. Then you're just going to go on the record as against the resolution. Of all the good things, that's bad. I mean, I suppose we could vote it all. No, he's still going to leave, so we might as well just vote for it.
Well done, Hezi.
Hezi, did you want to say anything?
Yes, I had asked Chairman Williams to give me a few minutes, and if it's okay with him, I'll take the few minutes now.
And yeah, unless I just ruined the agenda, but I'm fine with it.
So,
Go ahead.
Thank you. After 18 years at the college and 13 as the CFO and Vice President Administrative Services, the time has come for me to move on. But during my term of office, I hope that I have been able to make my views known on the many issues that face the college and this board. Let me begin by saying how privileged I feel to have had the opportunity to serve this institution and all of its constituents. As I prepare to leave MCC, I can't help but reflect on just how wonderful the time spent here has been. I have had an opportunity to get to know such amazing people, including each of you, some longer than others, but each of you has had an impact. It has been special working with the chairs of the Finance and Property Committee, both current as well as those in the past. I have learned that public sector accounting and budgeting are very different from those in the private sector. I learned the hard way the process of shared governance, and I have learned to be patient. The experience I have gained along the way is invaluable, and I will always treasure the time I spent here. It's been a pleasure being a member of the team because its teamwork is essential to achieving big things. I am a better person because of this experience. There are a few things that I am most proud of because of my being the catalyst to get them going. One, the Return to Complete program, which we have only begun to touch the surface in terms of penetrating this large number of potential returning students. Secondly, the UPass partnership with the Rochester Transit Authority, which eliminated transportation as one of the barriers to our students' success. And though I was not the catalyst, but winning the approval and construction of the downtown campus will forever be a class act achievement. As I transition into retirement, please know that I will truly miss spending time with you and being part of MCC. And finally, I owe all of my successes, achievements, and a debt of gratitude to my teammates, Val Avalon, Blaine Grindle, Daryl Jackamore, Kristen Lowe, Mike Quinn, Eileen Scorgi, and Eileen Worley. And though they have transferred to a different division or moved on, Dolores Pasto-Ziabro and Tony Perez. These teammates and their staff were always willing and able to go the last mile to accomplish the task. I wish you all continued success for now and into the future, wherever your paths may take you. As for me, one part of a very challenging and illuminating experience is coming to an end, one that I will treasure for the rest of my life. In closing, let me echo St. Paul in saying that I have run with perseverance and have finished the race. Whether I have finished the race successfully or not is not for me to say. I will leave it to my colleagues and my constituent members to be the judge. Thank you and adios. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Hezi. Very well said. Now we need to take a vote on the resolution of recognition. So I have to call a roll call. Those in favor, please say aye. So trustees John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Palumbo, I say aye. Dale Rakoff,
An emphatic aye.
Grace Tillingast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams.
Aye.
There being no opposition, we approve unanimously the recognition of Hezi Simmons. And again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your work and wish you so very well in your next chapter. Thank you. Are there any other questions for the committee? So hearing none, this concludes the Personnel and Programs Committee report.
And thank you, Trustee Palumbo.
Thank you.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College add the title of Secretary to the officers of the board. The following officer is appointed and will serve until the next annual meeting of the Board of Trustees and or until their successor has been elected and qualified. Vice Chair and Secretary, Daniel M. DeLoss, Jr. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve adding the title of Secretary to the officers of the board and appointing Dan DeLoss as Vice Chair and Secretary?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Second,
Moved and second. Do a roll call vote. Trustee John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo,
aye.
Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillinghast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams, aye. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College adopt the bylaws of the Board of Trustees amended June 7th, 2021, which you can find in attachment 10. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the amended bylaws as detailed in attachment 10?
So moved.
So moved. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor? Then a roll call vote. John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lovenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez.
Aye.
Carla Palumbo,
Aye.
Grace, Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillinghast,
Aye.
And Alan Williams, aye. And the motion is approved. And now, whereas Alvin Benny Martinez has served faithfully as a student trustee of Monroe Community College Board of Trustees during the 2021 academic year. Whereas Benny Martinez has served diligently and with sincere devotion and as a member of the Finance and Facilities and Personnel and Programs Committee of the board. And whereas Benny Martinez enhanced his learning experience as a student trustee by enrolling in an academic course to advance his leadership knowledge and skills. And whereas Benny Martinez was a member of the Presidential Search Committee and Presidential Search Committee for the 6th President of Monroe Community College. And whereas Benny Martinez has contributed to the betterment of the college by expressing the student perspective while serving as a dedicated representative of his fellow students. And whereas Benny Martinez has positively impacted the lives of his fellow students through his leadership, academic achievement, and involvement in co-curricular activities, standing as a role model for current and future students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Trustees of Monroe Community College, hereby express its deep appreciation for his leadership and service to the college and extends to him best wishes for continued happiness in the years ahead. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the resolution of recognition for Benny Martinez?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to thank Benny for all of the work that he did on the advisory committee and the search committee, making sure that the student voice was heard throughout both of these processes. And I hope that you go on and have a very successful career. And I am sure you will. Much good luck to you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion?
Benny, I thought I would just add that it would have been a year that would have been really easy to kind of mail it in and take on a passive role, but you had a tremendous impact and one it'll be a lasting impact on the college. And I really appreciate all your effort. Did a terrific job.
Thank you.
Benny, best
Thank
of
you.
luck to you for the rest of your college career, and good luck. You said you're going to Fisher, so good luck with that. And we know you'll do well.
Thank you.
I'll do a roll call vote. John Bartolotta,
Aye.
Dan DeLoss,
Aye.
Barbara Lobenheim,
Aye.
Benny Martinez,
Aye.
Carla Colombo,
Aye.
Dale Rakoff,
Aye.
Grace Tillinghast,
Aye.
and Alan Williams, aye. Being no opposition, the motion is unanimously approved. And Benny, I would like to say thank you for all the service to for this past year of the Board of Trustees. And for everyone, it's been a very difficult and challenging year, given the fact that we went through 2 searches, one for an interim president and then for a permanent president, all in the context of the COVID-19 epidemic. And thank you for all of the work that you've done. You've done an outstanding job, as all the other trustees have said before. And with that, would you like to have any final words?
I got a few words, just like maybe a couple minutes. First off, I want to thank all the kind words today, and thank everybody for taking the time out of the day to attend. I also want to thank the board members for making my time as a student trustee welcoming and a great learning experience. Being a part of the board for MCC has been the most treasured experience I've gone through. Monroe Community College has a special heart in my place because of the positive impact it has had in my life. And I hope that for all of the students now and in the future at MCC will feel the same. I have great confidence in the future of the board, as the previous chair, Barbara Lovenheim, was absolutely fantastic and was admirable with her admirable leadership skills that I have learned just by watching her. Trustee Lovenheim, I want to thank you personally for all the time and hard work you have dedicated and still commit to the board for the greater of MCC and the students. I know and had the same confidence in our new chair, Alan Williams, that he will be absolutely fantastic as well. And to all the board members, we may have not had any meetings in person since I've joined, and we've had an interesting year, but it was an exceptional experience working with you all. Your dedication to this institution is something I look up to, and because of that, I've become more dedicated to this institution even as I go. Finally, I want to thank and grant the best of luck to the next student trustee, Paula Barlow. I know without a doubt that the representation that the students voted for to have on the board will always look out for the best interest of the students and institution. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Benny. And with that, I would like to introduce the new student trustee, Paula Barlow, who will officially become the student trustee at the August 9th meeting. Paula, would you like to say a few words of introduction?
Yes, thank you. Benny, it was a pleasure working with you. You have actually, I don't know, you've set the bar pretty high for me, so I just hope that I get the same love and care on the board as you did. I'm sure I will. And you know, the best to you, Benny. I'm sure I'll see you down the road sometime during our college careers. And to the board for welcoming me. It has truly, this opportunity is granting me the opportunity to become a well-rounded leader, because now I have the opportunity to see the other side and aspects of the business portion of MCC and how the decisions that are made are for the better of the students, even though, you know, some students might not agree with that. But all in all, it was a good year, and I'm just elated that I have this opportunity and can't wait to learn as much as I can from all of you. So thank you for having me.
Okay. Thank you, Paula. We look forward to an exciting year ahead. Okay. Trustees, unless there is further business to discuss, this concludes the business portion of the meeting. We will now go into the informational portion of the Board of Trustees meeting. I'd like to ask our soon-to-be former student trustee, Benny Martinez, to present. You're still on, you're mute, Benny.
I'm sorry, this is a curveball for me.
Okay, well, any your sort of final presentation, would you like to say anything? An update in terms of what's going on?
I think Benny gave his words in the earlier section.
Yeah, I apologize. I may have messed up the schedule or the agenda. I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Wade, for that one.
All right. And with that, I would now like to ask President Burt Nana to give her report.
Okay, I got this. Thank you, Benny. I certainly just want to, you know, offer some expressions in terms of thanking everyone for such a warm welcome to the college and to this fabulous community that we all have the gift of belonging to. It's been coming in on the heels of a time of celebration for the college. Certainly was a whirlwind in terms of the demands of time from everyone. And I want to reach out and express appreciation to everyone that just made this such a wonderful transition time, and for the board support from everyone, administrators, faculty, staff, students, our foundation, everyone, just thank you so very much. I'd also want to once again just express my appreciation for the excellence of Dr. Barbara Lovenheim and her awards for Dr. Carbone and for Vice President Hezzy Simmons. And I kind of feel a bit like Chair Williams and Trustee Roykoff, I was thinking to myself, I came and Hezi decided to retire. What's going on with that? But he assured me also, Trustee Williams, that it was not personal, and that actually he would have been delighted to work with me, and has been a gem to help us to all the way through the end. He is faithful. So grateful for that. I am going to be joined by William Dixon for an update on our current strategic plan, which is expiring this year. And and to announce that we have the privilege of preparing this fall to begin the work on a brand new strategic plan as part of our normal cycles. And this process will be inclusive of all of our students and our faculty, staff, administrators, representation from our board, our foundation, and our business and community stakeholders. So with that, I would like to turn it over to William to present the updates on our current strategic plan. William?
Oh, thank you, President Bertnana, and good evening, everybody. This presentation probably looks familiar. I think this is the third update I've given on the current strategic plan. It is ending soon, so work on the new one will start before we know it. And on the first page, this is our vision, mission, and really the goals of the overall goals of the strategic plan. And on the next page, we'll look at the summary. This is the summary of what was deemed the most important aspects of the strategic plan. And just a couple things I would like to point your attention to is the first one, learning first. This is the percentage of our first time in college, our brand new students who completed math and English in their first year at the college. This is their college level math. You can see that they're in the red and yellows, but the college is headed in the right direction. So if you look at their strategic plan, this is the highest these percentages have been since 2016, 2017. So we're definitely headed in the right direction. I wish COVID-19 wouldn't have happened, because in the next 2020, 2021 update, you'll see how that impacted our student retention, our student success. And honestly, that's going to impact the first time in college student more than the other student groups on the campus. Under student success, we're looking at the first time full-time retention rate, again, of the students and also the part-time students. Both of those have remained relatively stable at the college. We'll see those probably decline somewhat in 2020 and 2021, again, because of COVID-related issues. Increase in fall-to-fall persistence rate. That's overall all students on campus. You'll see that drop some, but not as significantly as for the full-time students next year. On a positive area, career pathways, economic development, this is what we report to SUNY as our workforce partnerships with the community businesses that were around. So the enrollment in company training programs, this is the number of course enrollments we had for workforce development. So we had close to 3,000 enrollments in workforce programs. This is the highest that we have ever reported to SUNY. And this is for 2019, 2020. We're in the midst of finishing 2020, 2021 right now. So this summer will include those numbers. So we're definitely more involved with the community and workforce than we have been in the past. Enrollment in certificate programs. More of our students in 1920 were enrolled in certificates than previously. I think this is part of the stackable credentials. We're seeing students get certificates go into associate's degrees. So more of the hands-on job-related trainings we're seeing in the certificates. Under organizational cultures, we look at three things in this area. There's more measures in the strategic plan, but the employee retention, this is going to be fall 19 into fall 20. What percentage of our full-time employees stayed at the college? Again, we see a drop in this, but this was expected because we had reductions in workforce. People left the college willingly. For fall 20 into fall 21, we're going to see drops in this also because we have retirements. We know people are leaving the college. Some of those positions will not be filled. So again, we'll be in the yellow this coming up year, but that's again expected. The two questions below my supervisor, both of these are going to be Gallup poll questions. So it's my understanding we're going to continue this probably in the future. So we'll have updates for these probably next year. So we'll see a 3-year trend, how this has changed over time. some of the more recent updates is student to faculty ratio. We have it for 1819. 1920 was just reported by SUNY. You can see that went from 21 students to faculty to 20 students to faculty. That's really the result of fewer students and relatively the same number of faculty. We will see this change significantly in 2021. Student to other ratio, that is everybody that's not faculty, honestly, on campus. What's their ratio to students on campus? That was 17, that's now 16. So both of those are below the threshold where the college wants to be. But again, we will see some of that change for next year. One of the metrics, percentage of the fund balance to actual balance, we were at 10% in 1920. That's going to increase 2021. I think some of that is from Hezzy's presentation just now, where the fund balance is at the college. And one of the biggest changes, biggest increases is to how much it costs, operating costs per every FTE student on campus. Our threshold where we would want to be, it's kind of the minimum, is 9,000. It's costing the college operating costs about $11,000 per FTE. And that's the most recent 1920 from SUNY. Is there any questions up to this point? If not, on the next page. So all these metrics are going to be in attachment 11. The C or better rate in MCC general education courses. This is not only English and math, this is any course considered general education at the college. We can say there's been a slow decrease in the C or better rates in these courses. A lot of that's attributed to the increase in online education, because we know from looking at our records on campus that students generally have a lower C or better rate in online versus face-to-face courses. And a lot of that's driving what we're seeing here. We'll see that for fall 20 and 21, especially with COVID, because where everything went to online education, that has an impact on our student success rates in these courses. Goal one, direction two, direction one, goal two, this is the number of FTE, headcount in online programs, applied experiential learning, presented fall census. 2020 is not here because honestly, we're updating it and we're seeing how COVID has impacted our student numbers. So you can see fall term FTEs of online courses where everything went to online for COVID. Those are online, but they're not traditional online. So some of those are remote, not versus online. So reporting structures had to be looked at to see where we want to include those. On the last one, unduplicated hit counts, taking at least one online course. This was a trend leading up even before COVID, was a larger percentage of our students were taking online courses, or at least one online course on campus. So this is, it was 32% in 2019. It's going to be close to 35% in 2020. And it's going to be close to 80% for 2020. Well, it depends on what the fall schedule looks like coming up. And on the next page. This is really a recap of what was on the summary, but you can see the years leading up to it. So you can see in completed English in year one, what I was saying, we were at 45.3% of the incoming student body. It was 46.9% in 2016, then it dropped. So we've been increasing from 2017 forward. So you'll see that in most of these metrics here. I would like to point out that spring 2020 was the first COVID semester. So that's when the courses switched. And these are year-long metrics. So we increased even though COVID was impacting part of these grades. So I think that's something we honestly should be proud of, because we still showed an increase in students achieving college level credits, even with COVID impacting them in their final semester, or at least of that year. On the next page. So this is our graduation rates of our student body on campus. Retention graduation rates. You can notice in first time, full time retention, it was 61 percentage points leading up to 2018. And then we see a slow downturn in student retention rates. We see that both for full-time, it's not as significant for full-time, more significant for part-time students, but there's fewer students in that number. Fall to fall persistence rate, that's for all students on campus. Again, that was relatively stable leading up to 2019. That's fall 19 into fall 20. That's when we saw a decrease in that number. We're going to see it again in fall 20 to 21, just because we can see how COVID has impacted that student group. The goal to, direction 2, goal 2, pathway program completion. This is how well we place students or directed in the majors when they first came to the college. So exact math match the pathway to a program. That means they came to the college in a pathway, and that's what they graduated in. So 61% of our graduates graduated in what they started in at the college, meaning they didn't switch pathways or majors while at the college. Yep. And next page. This is the fall to fall persistence rate of the entire student body. That's going to be for example, fall 2019 into fall 20. As soon as we take the fall 21 census, we'll have the update for those coming up numbers. Because students are waiting to enroll for fall 21, it looks like right now, it's really hard to gauge where that number is going to fall at this point. We know the enrollment's falling behind where it was last year, but we know a lot of students are waiting to see what the schedule is going to look like because we see it on the student survey results. And on the next page. We're getting into the EdOS workforce areas, labor force. This is the labor market information, number of company contracts that we have on campus, the number of enrollments in those programs. You can see in 2019, 2020, we had 2,900, almost 3,000 enrollments. Before that, we were about 22. So every year that's been going up. And count of AAS, we have 125 different AAS or certificate pathways on campus at this point. And next page. So in this area, the enrollment in STEM programs, these are going to be pathways or majors on campus listed as STEM. In 2021, almost 13.4% of all of our students were enrolled in a STEM pathway. This is an increase over time. It's still one of the higher percentages we've had. The percentage of STEM degrees as awarded degrees. So 18% of all of our degrees awarded in 1920 were in a STEM area. So we're seeing increases in both enrollment and the number of degrees awarded. We're also seeing this trend in AAS degrees. So these are degrees leading to probably a workforce. They're not necessarily transfer degrees. And we're seeing it in certificates. So both of those are in the increase, where AS degrees are kind of on the decrease. Up, next page. So this is the number of contracts on campus, new and maintained. This is kind of a misleading, and we're waiting for updated measures on this. As you can imagine, we maintain more contracts now than before. So as you maintain a higher number, there's fewer contracts that you can't have new because we have so many continuing contracts. So we're going to be on the maintain, we're well in the green. We're going to be in the yellow threshold on the new signed contracts because we've signed the news and they're being maintained at the college. And next page. Direction 4, organizational culture. These are all the different questions that we ask on the Gallup poll survey. So it's going to look at the 2017 results and the 2019 results. When we have the next Gallup poll survey, we'll have the same information for these questions as a different column. That way we can track over time to see how much movement we've had on each one of these measures. And next question, next page. So it's saying this is fall to fall. So the most recent for fall 19 and the fall 20, we retained almost 86% of our full-time workforce. Again, that decrease was kind of expected leading into it. And we expect a decrease from 20 into 21. on goal 3 is the average number of days it takes to hire somebody on campus. It's actually fascinating that 2018 and 2019, those 2 years, it took the same on average number of days to hire a position. That's from the day it was announced to the day that somebody filled that position. And next page. This is the number of professional development programs on campus. It's always remained kind of stable for about 15 programs. This increases and decreases over time, depending on what kind of programs we have on campus. And next page. And institutional effectiveness, this is more of the budget area on campus. It's going to outline the state costs to teach, direct costs to students, student to faculty ratio. We're working on the kilowatt usage right now for 20. We know in COVID, we have more energy budget than we actually used because people weren't on campus at this point. And next page. Oh, so that was the last page. Is there any questions? I know I went through it kind of quickly, but there's quite a few different strategic plan measures.
William, thank you for your analysis and trusted capabilities. I've come to really appreciate working with William, a variety of details from the research side. So thank you. That concludes my president's report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bertnana. I will now ask the cabinet members to give their reports. First is Dr. Gant, the Chief Diversity Officer.
Thank you, and I apologize for the scratchy voice. The allergies are not cooperating today. So obviously you have the report that was submitted. There's a couple of areas that I just wanted to highlight. One of the things for me as the Chief Diversity Officer is that presence is important. And being able to be seen, not always have to be heard, is just as important in the work that I do. And so I'll just mention a couple of the areas where I have some responsibilities and places where I get to see, the good work of the college. The first is the League of Innovation. I just want to announce and remind people that every year there is an award for the League of Innovation of the Year. This year's recipient was the College Research Badging Program, and that was submitted by Anjali Parsons Samar and Alice Wilson from MCC Libraries. So I want to congratulate them for their hard work as it relates to that. I did have an opportunity this year also to serve as a reviewer for Scholars Day. That was my first opportunity to participate in that endeavor. So again, I want to thank them for the opportunity to do that. I was the co-chair for the search committee for our Director for Public Safety, a key position here at our institution. So I'm looking forward to the announcement of that individual coming soon. I was able to attend quite a few award ceremonies. May is the award ceremony time for MCC. And so I was able to attend the Upward Bound recognition ceremony as well as the C-STEP awards ceremony, which recognizes quite a few of our underrepresented students, many from the high school area, and who we're hoping to convert into MCC students in the future. So happy for that. Couple of things just to put on your radar. We have a draft of a new civility statement that we hope to be able to present to you in the fall semester. So we're in the final stages of having that looked at by the Faculty Senate and the President's Cabinet. And then we will present that information to the board as well for your review. And last but not least, you've heard about a lot of updates and renewals that are going to be taking place this upcoming year. And that is also the case for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan, which also runs out similar to our strategic plan this year. So we're looking to re-up the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan starting this fall as well. So that's the end of my summary. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. McKinsey Mayburn.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair Williams, trustees. I would like to just share two very brief highlights this evening, two pretty exciting ones. First, as you know, MCC honored 1,800 of our graduates this year in a virtual commencement ceremony on May 20th. I was honored to deliver a message to the graduates along with Dr. Bertanana, Trustee Williams, and our first time ever student commencement speaker, Soleil Williams, who I say her story brought me to tears each time I watched it. I also want to recognize our student leaders, Isabella De Ruiz and Denise Vogel, who led the Pledge of Allegiance, and our student vocalist, Anisha Stallworth, who sang the national anthem. Professor of Nursing Jan Volan served as our faculty marshal, and of course, Provost Wade presided over the ceremony. The evening, which I hope all of you had a chance to see, featured virtual walks across the stage, many videos and photos of our graduates, which was truly a celebration of our students' perseverance through a pretty extraordinary year. We couldn't have made it that far without the support, of course, of our Board of Trustees, the MCC faculty, staff, administration, and of course, our students. So a big thank you to all. It was a fantastic ceremony. While it may not have been in person, it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. The ceremony for all 7 schools still remains viewable online at monroecc.stageclip.com. And to date, we've had over about 2,000 views of the ceremony. So if you haven't seen it, please watch it and share with others as well. And I do want to recognize and just give a round of applause to our Commencement Planning Committee team. John Dellett, Jeremy Case, Pam Rendy, Lynn Grieg, Charlie Sutter, Wendy Strasner, Sarah Haygreen, John Frontudo, and Bailey Burrett. So thank you all for a wonderful event. I know it was not easy. And we weren't sure where we were going towards the end, but they stayed the course and did a really great job. And the second highlight I would like to share this evening recognizes our student athletes, as well as our coaches, our athletic staff, and our AD, Erin Bouillet. MCC was one of only 14 New York community colleges that agreed to compete in athletics this year. We had over 80 MCC student athletes who practiced and competed in one of the 4 following areas since just February. Baseball, and kudos to the team for making it to the East District Finals, ranking 13th in the country, our team's highest ranking in over 10 years. Softball, we're Region 3 semifinalists. Men's soccer finished the season with 2 straight wins, and a special recognition to our women's soccer team who led an undefeated season and were recognized as East District Champion National Tournament Qualifier, ranking 8th in the nation. The team competed this past weekend in nationals in Evans, Georgia, playing the number 4 and number 5 seeds. Incredibly close games for those of you who were able to catch it. Unfortunately, they did lose in pretty terrible hot and muggy conditions, and they are now on their way back from Georgia. So congratulations to all of our student athletes and our Tribunes. A season well done. And that concludes our highlights from Student Services. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Todd Oldham.
Good evening. I have 2 highlights as well that I'd like to pull from the report that we've submitted. The first is, as we wrap up the year, the Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship Program, which is created in 2018. We've had a very strong year, as we've been reporting in these board meetings, but I'd like to just give some summary of the amount of activity that we've had. We've had 517 interviews that were conducted through 9 virtual matching day events. And those virtual matching days are essentially where we bring high school students and match them to a registered apprenticeship. So they begin working on that apprenticeship while they're in high school. And of that, we've had 99 students officially applied to the competitive portion of the program. 64 students were gained youth apprenticeship experiences, 34 paid co-ops, 30 job shadows. And also what I think is very impressive is over 200 MCC college credits completed, because we are providing the instruction that is part of that is their credit program. So this is a program that we'll be having expanded pretty significantly with our partner RTMA. Once we open the Ford Center, that will be one of the places where it's headquartered. The second highlight that I would like to just focus on is actually the Ford Center. We've heard a lot of good news tonight about that. We have to report. We have a website up now, Forward Center, fwd-center.com, where we have a virtual tour as well as promotional videos and some just information and articles on the site. We are planning for mid-July, presently in basically talks with the county for doing a groundbreaking. So we're looking forward to that. And we also are starting to work in line with kind of that early college, high school youth apprenticeship piece. We are starting to socialize more detailed the center opening and the programs that we'll be having there. We did hold in May 7th, 18 secondary and district educators that we brought together virtually and gave a virtual tour, as well as discussing ways that they can participate in a network of early college, high school experiences that will be having focus exclusively at the Forward Center. So we're excited about that. And then I would say the other piece is we obviously have to begin promoting this facility and what it represents to the community. And so we have contracted with McDougall Consulting, who is a PR firm, and we're doing that with a large grant that we received from the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. So that will be commencing, and you'll hopefully be able to start seeing some of that. And then lastly, I just would like to bring attention to a series of research that we're involved in. It's also funded by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation regarding looking and exploring what interest there might be from the community and creating more of a super center concept within the downtown campus, specifically around Forward Center and CTE based activities. And that's being spearheaded with CGR, and that work's going on right now. And then secondly, looking at the business model, the lease model that potentially could be developed around co-location, particularly in the unused or unbuilt portion, unfinished portion of the facility. And that's actually being done with an organization called Capacity Consulting in partnership with Administrative Services. So those are some activities. We'll be looking forward to reporting more on that later. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, Vice President Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll focus on two of the items that I mentioned in the report. One, they're both, in my mind, partnerships and collaborative events. So as I mentioned earlier, under student success, it was determined that the federal government would allow colleges to write off debts that their students incurred as a result of the pandemic. So we ask our controller's office and the financial aid office, along with IR, to really look through the records, because it was a barrier or a constraint around when this occurred. So we started with about 6,500 students that had these debts. But then we had to put them through a screening to see who qualified under the rules of the Department of Education. And once and I mean, this was really a short-term time turnaround because we needed to get out in front of this. Those individuals worked, I mean, some extraordinary hours, and they came up with the certified 1,500 of these students. They're continuing to work, and they think they will find at least another 500. What it will allow, because MCC has a policy or a procedure that if you owe the college $1,000 or more, you are on registration hold. That means you can't re-register until you've dropped that balance down below 1,000. So what we are doing, anyone who owes us up to $4,000, because we are willing to then offset 3,000 of those dollars, which would then give them the right to come back and register. So my analysis was that if we have 1,500 students costing me $1.5 million, all I needed was about 200 of those students, that is on a full-time basis, to register and complete 2 semesters to wipe out that write-off, or to balance out that write-off. And I'm hoping that we will see some real progress around that as the marketing team kicks in to reach these individuals, because we have actually identified them. The other item I want to highlight is the institutional effectiveness. This is what I call a real partnership that we are having with the county. As you know, we are rebuilding the cogen plant, which is our energy plant, which kicks in if we have a disruption from the local utility company. Well, in the past, we've done these major projects, but we would have parts coming from various companies, systems from various companies, and it just made the life of our engineers on campus a significant task of getting the work done because they had to get a lot of training. The county agreed with us in this particular project, to the purchasing department, to agree to a single source, working with Caterpillar, to control, because the cogen plant has Caterpillar engines. And so now we were able to get all of the parts, all of the systems and generators to come from the Caterpillar company to then refurbish this unit with all common parts from one company. This is going to make life a lot easier for our engineers and will save us significant dollars. That's it. Those are the two items I wanted to highlight. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Wade?
Good evening, trustees. This is a longer meeting than usual for all the best and most wonderful reasons, so I will be quick. I'd like to draw your attention to the report and to acknowledge that June is Pride Month, and to show some training that's been offered cooperatively through Calvin's office, the Teaching and Creativity Center, and some of our very skilled faculty in AHPS. I'd also like to point out the long list of ways that our faculty and staff are continuing not only to do their required responsibilities, but are showing leadership by presenting at conferences and at other colleges, and by continuing to innovate even under these circumstances. So I'm not going to point out the individuals, but I will tell you that there were more people who provided information about this kind of leadership than we had room to print. So I commend our faculty and staff for continuing to be leaders and therefore helping MCC to continue to be a leader. Thank you.
Gretchen?
Thank you, Chair Williams. I will share that the Government and Community Relations Department had the opportunity to support commencement differently this year by facilitating video messages from elected officials. So we're pleased to be able to still bring those messages of support to our students. They also have been quite busy, as you can imagine, with interviews with President Bert and Anna. That's been obviously a great deal of interest in the community. So they facilitated interviews with the Rochester Business Journal and WHAM and WHEC and WXXI, for example. Institutional compliance and internal audit is about 95% through the annual process of reviewing the policies and procedures that need to be updated. They need to be reviewed every 5 years. So that work is underway. I'll also share that the audit work for the 2020-2021 single audit is underway as well, and that will include funds that the college has received from the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, the HERF funds that we've been talking about earlier, the importance of the oversight of those funds. I don't think I need to share more about the work of institutional research right now. You heard from Director William Dixon and the important work that he and his department are doing to share the information that we need to have to be making the right decisions for the institution. And I will allow the chair of the MCC Foundation Board of Directors, Sergio Esteban, to share the good work of his colleagues at the foundation. Thank you.
I'd like to thank each and every cabinet member for their reports. And now I'd like to ask the MCC Foundation Chair, Sergio Esteban, to come forward with a report from the foundation.
Thank you, Chair Williams, and thank you, Gretchen. It is an honor and also a pleasure for me to come to in front of you to report on the activities of our foundation. Next slide, please. First, to give you a report on the 23rd Annual Gold Star Gala. It was in April, and I have to tell you there was a great success. This gala, presented by M&T Bank, was a phenomenal event. It's the second time we've done it in a virtual way, and I hope the last one. But a lot of work went on by the foundation staff and by everybody involved. And I have to tell you that thank you to the generosity of our sponsors, our donors, and the community supporters. We raised more than $220,000 in support of our deserving students or MCC of our college. So great news, and hard to know what the outcome is going to be, but hopefully I'm reporting to you as a total success. So thank you to everybody involved. Next slide, please. Our work continues, and the next event to raise funds for our students and for the college is the 37th Annual Scholarship Open. And it is on June 21st, and I have to tell you that we already are sold out. We have 32 foursomes reserved, and we have a great day planned, full of fun and goodness for our students and for the institution. But if you're not a golfer, don't feel that you cannot participate. You still can. In your packet, there's information about the other non-golfing opportunities that are available to support the event. We also are seeking for scholarship pledges, and we please encourage you to see Gretchen if you're interested in pledging one. We hope to have another resounding success. And again, we have a great committee and great staff taking care of every single detail. So we are very, very confident of having a wonderful day, wonderful event. Next slide, please. This is the time of the year when we also give you an update on the number of scholarship funds that we have available. As you can see by the dashboard that is in front of you, the funds raised and the number of scholarships has been increasing year after year, again, to the work of many, many very committed and wonderful people and of supporters. We have added so far 15 new scholarships, scholarship funds so far this year, and that is great. So this growth continues, but as you well know, the need also is growing. So despite this growth, we only are able to award the scholarships to 1/3 of the applicants. And that is something obviously that we would like to have funds available for anybody who applies and is deserving of a scholarship. So our work continues, and we are going to do our best to increase those numbers as we go through, not only to see the curve increasing, but also the number of students that go beyond that third that right now is the results that we have. Anyway, so this is the end of my report. Next slide, please. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of you for the wonderful work that you are doing. And also on behalf of the foundation board, tell you our appreciation for your leadership and all you do for MCC and the students, that at the end of the day is what has all of us together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Gretchen, for all the work that the great work that the foundation is doing. We appreciate it, and so does the students, I'm sure. At this time, we would like to begin the shared governance portion of the meeting.
Okay, so each of the shared governance leaders will have an opportunity to provide an update of no more than 5 minutes to the Board of Trustees. Speakers will not be able to share their allotted time with others. Student Government Association.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see all of you and good evening. Some updates. The student government has completed elections, and we have been working towards interviewing all of our new applicants. We look forward to welcoming around 10 members to our organization, and we'll be holding training on July 8th. We have also formed a committee concerning the 9/11 ceremony and look forward to meeting 2 student leaders who contributed to the first 9/11 ceremony at MCC, and we will be meeting with them on June 14th. Lastly, I would like to congratulate Paula Barlow for becoming the new student trustee. We will miss you very much in the student government, but we look forward to working with you in a different capacity. Thank you.
Okay, Faculty Senate.
Hi, everyone. I'm also, I feel you, Calvin. I'm having some allergy stuff too, so I apologize for my voice. On Thursday, we held our last Senate meeting of the year. I did report on some general accomplishments in business over this past year. I was reelected as Faculty Senate President, so I'll be serving for the next 2 years. We also have 2 new vice presidents. Dr. Natasha Chen Christensen is the VP of Teaching Faculty, and Jeremy Case is the VP of Professional Staff. The Senate, in particular, Scott and Becky Babcock, worked with the board on the search leading to Dr. Bert Nana as MCC's 6th president. As a body of the whole, our focus continues to be student success with a focus on teaching and learning and support services. Our Senate meetings will continue to be remote for the fall, but we will discuss how to proceed for spring 2022 during the fall. Some of the future Senate business includes revisiting the temporary placements for new students, the attendance policy, SCA's work on hiring guidelines, our work on diversity, equity, and inclusion in our curriculum, the strategic plan. And also in the fall, we'd like to discuss revisiting the open comment portion of the Board of Trustees meeting. We had agreed to have a separate event, but I'm not sure that that has been working out. So we'd like to meet with the board and discuss ways of improving that. Our immediate focus of our work is on participation in reopening plans for each campus, the search for the new CFO and VP of Administrative Services, and also transitioning our senators, officers, in the executive committee for the next year. Dr. Douglas had piloted meetings with the President's Cabinet once a month, and Dr. Bert Nana has continued these meetings. So this gives Senate a chance to engage with the entire President's Cabinet and to discuss Senate business in every domain of leadership. But as always, I'm available to meet with any administrator or board member if requested. So we have new challenges ahead, and we have not really had enough time to reflect on the abrupt change in modalities and the shift in helping so many of our students that were in crisis, as well as dealing with their own lives that were impacted by COVID. So as we begin this transition, I want to acknowledge just how difficult this time has been, not just for our students, but for faculty and staff. And that is why my gratitude to my colleagues for the work they've done this past year takes on even more significance than in the past. But I do want to thank them. I'm very grateful for all of the work that they've been engaged in. I'd also like to wish Hezi good luck in retirement. I wish you the best. And also to Benny, congratulations and the best to you as you move forward in your studies. Felicidades. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Support Staff Planning Council.
Thank you, Linda. On behalf of the Support Staff Planning Council, excuse me, I'm Sylvia Lavin, interim co-chair with Jenny Peterson. I'm pleased to bring the board up to date on our activities since our last report. First of all, I'd like to recognize my co-chair, Jenny, for being named the recipient of this year's SUNY Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Classified Service. Congratulations, Jenny. And it's a pleasure to be co-chair with you. SSPC hosted, excuse me, 2 Zoom workshops as part of Faculty Senate's Professional Development Week entitled Basics of MCC Search Committees, How do Support Staff Become Members? The presenters were Human Resources staff members Chelsea Davis and Mary Gilligan. We hosted 2 brown bag Zoom sessions on April 22nd entitled How to Make the Most of Microsoft Outlook, Advice from Our Tech Experts. Presenters were Ann Penwarden and Christine Gallion from Computing and CNS. On May 15th, we concluded our donation drive for the MCC Res Hall's Food and Supplies Pantry. We continue to revise and update our MCC Tips reference guide. And we're excited about our support staff mentoring program, which is in its initial stages of development. Coordinating with Human Resources, we'll recruit mentors who have 3 or more years of work experience as support staff at the college. They'll be matched with mentees in order to share their knowledge and to provide support in many ways, from college resources, databases, software, and other technology, to customer service, networking, and social aspects of the workplace, all of which we believe will improve and enhance newer employees' confidence, involvement, expertise, and success. That in turn will positively affect support staff's role in the current and future strategic plans and student success. And lastly, as a unique academic year ends, we want to thank the board for your time and efforts in support of our students.
Okay, and next is administration.
Thank you so very much. I just want to express again such gratitude for our student leaders' service on our board, both Benny and also to Paula as incoming as part of our shared governance processes at the college. And then I also want to make sure that that we all celebrate and extend commendations to the leadership of the college throughout the president's cabinet and their teams for just demonstrating an unwavering commitment and belief, both also, not only in belief, but also in practice around shared governance. We've had some early engagement along with our shared governance leaders. You heard some of them reference that, whether it was meetings that I hosted or whether there were meetings that they hosted, and I graciously welcomed the opportunity to meet along with them, and a host of year-end celebrations that we were all in the space together. We can't talk about shared governance without also just expressing the gratitude, extending gratitude and demonstrating appreciation for all of our faculty, our staff, and our students who demonstrated such resiliency and an unwavering commitment throughout the COVID pandemic. And I'll take this time to also express appreciation for our Teaching and Creativity Center for supporting all of them so that we had this opportunity to have the support of everyone. So thank you also to our union leaders who have reached out to me and or honored my request to meet on both as part of introductions to the college, as well as on an ongoing basis that will continue to strengthen shared governance throughout the college. I look forward to also being with the faculty during the Faculty Association during their upcoming year celebration, and being able to experience that and demonstrate support and appreciation for them all. Those are my updates.
And at this time, we will begin the union update portion of the meeting.
The union leaders will have an opportunity to provide an update of no more than 5 minutes to the Board of Trustees. Speakers will not be able to share their allotted time with others. Faculty Association.
Thank you. Good evening, President Burt and Anna, Chair Williams, members of the board, and fellow members of the MCC community. I've been listening closely to the discussions this evening about the budget and the financial future of MCC. I and the other Faculty Association leaders recognize and appreciate your role in maintaining the financial sustainability of our institution. Yet there was something vital to the sustainability of MCC and our student success that was missing from that discussion. And that is the work of our employees who are responsible for serving and educating our students. I respectfully ask you to reconsider and reframe how you think about MCC's future and urge you to consider how your valuing of our employees can be influential in either positive or negative ways. Some things we've heard tonight are not new. Enrollment has been declining for years, and our institution has been responding by cutting costs and managing expenses. 3 years ago, I sat in a board budget meeting where a budget projection was presented, which suggested that MCC would be bankrupt within 5 years. Yet here we are 3 years later, adding over 10 million to our fund balance this year, saving millions as a result of retirements and reductions in operating costs, and receiving close to $40 million from the federal government. Vice President Simmons himself shared tonight that we will see a reduction in expenses of over $12 million this year. At the same time, most retirements have not been filled, and workload has instead shifted to other employees who have already been working above and beyond during the pandemic, while also picking up some operating costs of their own by working from home. Faculty and staff have been working tirelessly over the past year to maintain some semblance of normalcy for our students. The college and our students have benefited from our commitment and our work. Our employees have been resilient, dedicated, and resolute in prioritizing the needs of our students and achieving the mission of our college, despite many of us experiencing hardships of our own during this year. The federal funding provides a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to truly invest in the college. That money cannot be saved. It must be spent to support the students and employees of MCC. Over the past year, our employees have heard multiple platitudes about how appreciated they are and how grateful MCC is for our commitment and our dedicated employees. Now is the time for you to put something of value behind those words. We also continue to hear about MCC's commitment to equity and inclusion. The FA has presented a contract proposal which appropriately values our employees for their essential work and which prioritizes equity. We are trying to repair some of the racial and gender inequities that have been unresolved for far too long. You have an opportunity to invest in equity, to show that MCC's commitment to equity is real rather than just aspirational. While we recognize and appreciate management and the board's interest in a 5-year contract, the FA negotiating team cannot agree to one which does not provide enough of an incentive to our membership. We simply cannot agree to a 5-year contract which is limited by the current financial parameters that you have provided. We deserve better. Now is the time for you, the members of the board, to commit to supporting, respecting, and valuing your faculty and staff. You can do that with a contract that is funded to ensure that we can continue to offer our best work to MCC and to our students. I heard it said tonight that we don't want to sacrifice student success. If that is true, and not just another platitude, then you must invest in our work. It is our work that is directly responsible for student learning and student success. The contract must be an investment in FA employees, employees who have sacrificed in order to sustain MCC over this past year, employees whose work represents the future of MCC, employees who deserve a fair and equitable contract in recognition of the value of their work. Thank you.
Okay, and there's no report from CSEA.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. I'd like to call your attention to the biographies of our newest employees that can be found in attachment 13 and the staff recognition notes found in attachment 14. Both document the impressive credentials and accomplishments of MCC's employees. I know you would join me in recognizing them for their contributions to the college. Before I close the meeting for this evening, I'd like to say thank you all for your attendance today, especially given the fact that we've gone over by about 30 minutes or so. But two things. One, we're opening a new door and a new chapter with Dr. Bert Nana, as well as with Paula Barlow, our new student trustee. I want to say welcome. At the same time, we close the chapter on the outstanding service by VP Simmons, as well as student trustee Martinez. And to them, I'd like to say thank you. And with that, this concludes the Board of Trustees meeting for June 7th. Thank you all, and good night.